Good morning. It's Miss Trees. How are y'all doing? It's Marvelous Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. I got a lot of stuff done around the house, some cleaning, some sleeping. You know, Miss Trees, I love to sleep. So here we are on Monday, starting our new week. You only have a 4-day week this week, so the assignments are a little shorter today. And this week we're going to be talking about poetry. So we haven't done poetry this year, but the poems that we're going to be going over are very nice and short and easy to understand. Okay? So I don't want you to worry about them. One of the things we've changed on the calendar is that you're going to have social studies 2 times a week and you're going to have science 2 times a week. So you don't have to worry about having social studies all week long and science all week long. So we've cut that a little short in order to help you guys make sure you can get everything done. So when you look on the academic calendar that I posted for you on the classroom, then you can see that you're going to have a little bit shorter assignments. You're still going to have Monday through, well, this week you'll just have Monday through Thursday. And then for next week, you'll have only Monday through Friday for reading and writing and math. And then you'll only have 2 days for social studies and 3 days for science. So we cut down on the social studies and science for y'all because we felt like we were kind of overwhelming y'all with a little too much work. And we want to make sure that you can get the work done and not be stressed out about it. And we don't want to stress out your parents about it because they're very busy and they're working hard. And so we want to make sure that y'all are safe and you're calm and you're not you don't get upset and you don't get worried and you have plenty of time to get work done. Okay? So, with that being said, let's turn in our book. I'm turning now to, let me find the page. I believe it's 138. Page 138. No, that's the first story. Turn to page 135. I'm sorry, page 135. I'll give you a chance to get to that. Page 135. That's the poetry anchor chart that we usually do in class. But since we all have one, we're just going to look over it in the book. Okay? So the poetry anchor chart, the purpose of the poetry anchor chart is to arrange words in a creative way to help readers think or feel. Now, poetry is something that when you read, it's how it makes you think and how it makes you feel inside. Okay? There's a lot of different ways that you can think and feel when you read poetry. It's called interpretation. It's how you think about the poem. Now, when you learn poetry in school, the poem should kind of make you feel a little bit the same as your fellow students. So if you're reading a poetry about a boy on a farm doing certain things, then that say he's happy to do on the farm, like his chores, and he's a good boy, and let's see, he likes to please his parents, he's very responsible, and it's a poem like that, then you would think and feel that he is responsible and he is a people pleaser, he's very responsible and stuff like that. That's what you should be thinking and feeling about that kind of poem. Now, if you didn't think and feel like that about the poem and you started thinking that he was disrespectful, he didn't care about his parents, he was bad, he was mean, then what teachers are thinking that you don't understand the real meaning of the poem, okay? That you're like way off track. So then what our job is to kind of guide you into what the poem is mostly about, okay? But you may think and feel a little bit different about it, but we want to make sure you're kind of on track with your thinking and feeling, okay? So, elements of a poem, that means like pieces of a poem, different parts of a poem. There's 5 different parts of a poem. Okay, look at your anchor chart on 135. There's rhyme, words with the same ending of a meaning like hat, cat, sat, mat, rat. Those all sound the same, don't they? Okay, so that means rhyme. Rhythm, the pattern of sounds. Like the cat sat on the mat. He sat on the mat and saw a rat. While he sat on the mat, he saw a cat. He saw the cat chase the rat. See, at the end of those sentences, all those words sound the same. That's what rhythm is. That when you say a sentence, the end word sounds the same. That's rhythm. Okay? Rhyming words are cat, sat. Sentences that end in rhyming words, that's rhythm. Okay, repetition. Words or lines that repeat. That kind of goes hand in hand with rhythm. Okay, words or lines. Lines are sentences, okay, of the poem that repeat. Imagery. What do you think imagery is? Have we talked about imagery? Images are pictures. Okay, images are pictures. And what have I always told you when you're reading a story? I want you to be thinking about what it looks like in your mind. Okay, what it looks like in your mind. And imagery are words that paint a picture in your mind. Okay, what it makes you think about. All right. And stanza is a group of lines of poetry. A stanza, poetry is written usually in 4 lines, 4 sentences, or 4 pieces of sentences. And you're going to see when we start reading some of these poems, starting tomorrow. Okay? They're written usually in 4 lines. Some of them have more lines, but I'm just telling you the average poem, which is most poems, are written in 4 lines. So that's a stanza. A stanza instead of a paragraph. Poems are called stanzas. Okay? So when you write a paper and I say you need to write a paragraph, then it's usually 5 to 8 or 9 lines or sentences. Remember when y'all asked me how many lines on the page does it have to be? And I'll say, don't count the lines, count the sentences. Well, poems are how many lines? Okay, so they're like 4 to usually 5 to 6, 4, 5, 6 lines. Those are called stanzas, not paragraphs. So in poems, you call them stanzas. In stories, you call them paragraphs. Okay? All right. Let's look over here on page 134. It says poetry, real big and bold, and it looks like purple. So what is that? That's a text feature. Remember we've talked about text features? And that is a text feature telling you what those lines or sentences are going to express to you. So the poetry says a poem tells thoughts and feelings. It tells you how something that you should be feeling when you're reading the poem and stuff that you should be thinking about the poem. Okay? Groups of lines in a poem are called stanzas. We went over that. The lines often end with rhyming words. They end with rhyming words. We talked about that. Poems often have a pattern of beats called rhythm. So they kind of sound like this. When we start reading some poems, it'll make a little more sense. But I'm trying to get this in your head before we start reading the poems. Now, here's a little example of a small poem. And so I'll point out the different things, the different vocabulary, and the different elements of this short poem to you as we read it. Okay. Your dog will always let you know he loves the beach, the car, the snow. He loves to fetch and dig and chew, but what he loves the most is you. Okay, how the rhythm is how we read the sentences and how they kind of flowed the same. Your dog will always let you know he loves the beach, the car, the snow. See how when we read those sentences, they kind of hopped along and sound the same? Okay, so the sentences kind of sound the same while we read them. It's how they sound the same. Not the same words, but how they sound the same. The way we say them. Okay? Then the rhyming words were like chew and shoe, chew and you, and know and snow. Okay? Those are the rhyming words. The stanzas, they only have 2 stanzas. Can you figure out the 2 stanzas? They only have 2 sentences in their stanzas, 2 lines. Okay, the first 2 start with you and he, and that's actually 1 sentence. See, it's 1 sentence, but it's 2 stanzas. And then the bottom one starts with he and but, and that's 2 lines, so that's 1 stanza. Okay, not a paragraph. We're not talking about paragraphs when we talk about poems. We're talking about stanzas. Okay, so flip back to page 133. Page 133, and it says my words to know. My words to know. So we're on 133 now. All you had to do is flip the page over. Now these are your words that you need to know for these 4 poems that we're going to be reading this week. Great, before, and means. Those are pretty easy words, don't you think? Great. You guys are great. That's why I love you. Before, we had to see each other every day, Monday through Friday, and have a lot of fun in class and learn a lot before we had to sit at home and I got to talk to you on the video. But we're still learning a lot. It's just a lot different, right? But before we got to see each other in class. Before means what? Not now, but before. Tomorrow when we do a video, it will happen what? After this video. So before means what? Not now, but when? Before. So in the past, right? And then after also means in the past. Okay? All right, means. What does means mean? Okay? Means what it is. All right? Now let's see what the book says. Emily did a great job. Great is underlined for you. Great job on her spelling test. Like most of y'all do on your spelling test. When you study hard, you do a great job. She studied a lot before her spelling test. What does Miss Trees tell you to do? Study your spelling words and you'll do great. Her teacher is proud of her. That means a lot to Emily. She feels great. So she studied a lot before, underline before. She studied a lot before the test. So underline before, because we know that means she did it before she took the test. Okay, she did it before she took the test. We take our pre-test on Thursday. So if you studied before the test, well, let me turn that off. Just like it interrupts us in the class sometimes, but I gotta just turn it off. So underline before, if you studied before our test, pre-test on Thursday, then you studied Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. If you retest and take the test on Friday, then you also studied on Thursday night before we took the test. So underline before. Her teacher is proud of her. That means a lot to Emily. She feels great. Okay, she feels great. So underline great. Now, great. Does that mean she feels really sad because she did well on her test? No, that means she feels great. She feels awesome. She feels happy. Okay, when you feel great, you feel good. Like you feel when you do really well on something in class. I see y'all because when we pass out papers and y'all get your grades back, you feel great when you have good grades. Okay? You feel not so great when you've not made the best grade that you know you can make. Okay, and what does Miss Trees tell you? Try a little harder. Okay, now, it says, with a partner, write another story with the words in the box. Give your story to another pair of classmates. Read each other's stories. Now, if you would like, this isn't required because I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you. Since this is not mandatory, meaning you don't have to do it. You can do it if you want to. You don't need to send it to me. You can just do this with your parents if you want to. You can do it on your own and show your parents. I don't want you asking your parents to help you. This is just for you to do on your own to get your brain keeping on. Okay? So, if you want to write another short story, which will probably be 3 sentences, only 3 sentences, using great, before, and means. Okay? Great, before, and means. So, you're going to underline great, before, and means. Now, excuse me, I want you to try to write a sentence using great, another sentence using before, and another sentence using means that all go together. Okay? Now, it could be something like this. Mrs. Trees feels great when she gets to make videos of that work with her students. She gets up before and makes a cup of coffee, which means she might be a little tired before she makes the videos. Then she's wide awake, ready to talk to you. You know Miss Trees needs a little coffee. Y'all really don't see me drink coffee very much because I drink that one before school, one in the morning before I pick you up from cafeteria. And then what does Miss Trees usually bring to the cafeteria? Which is really bad for me and you shouldn't drink them. But you know what? I haven't been drinking them since I've been at home. A Coke, I know. And y'all always tell me, Miss Trees, Cokes are bad for you. I know, and you know what? I haven't been drinking them since I stayed home, and I've lost 7 pounds. So that's pretty good. But, so you can come up with something like that. Or something like, before, I didn't study for my spelling words much. But then I did, and made a good grade, so I felt great. That means I should always study for my spelling test. Something like that. Now, you don't need to take a picture and turn this into me. This is just for you to practice your great thoughts on paper, okay? And then that'll help you start writing things that kind of go together using just vocabulary words that you're given, okay? Now, I've already gone on for 20 minutes, and I wanted to make this short and sweet, but you might know Miss Trees likes to talk. If you want to read them ahead of time, you can read page 139. That's a poem about an elephant. Then on page 141 is a poem about, I think it's about a little girl. Yes, a little girl called Cassia. Okay, then Rudolph is tired of the big city. That's a boy. And then Lyle is on page 145, and that's another poem about a boy. Okay, we only have 4 poems. So what we're going to do is we're going to read 2 tomorrow, 2 on Wednesday, and then Thursday you'll have 3 questions. Okay, 3 questions to take on Thursday, and it's only 3 questions. You'll take those by yourself, and then you'll take a picture of that and send it to me. Okay? You guys that are having your parents take the pictures and text them to me, that's the best, because then I can download them easier to my computer. So, but only about a handful of you are doing that. Only about 4 or 5 of you are actually sending me those pictures. So you need to make sure that you're doing that with your parents. Have them take a picture of your work and turn it in to me so I can see it. Remember, my number's 210-478-1622. And I send it out on Dojo. So you need to make sure that your parents get that. Okay? Now, that's all for today. I'm going to make another video, which should be a lot shorter, about writing. And then tomorrow we'll do a video about social studies. Remember, only 2 days of social studies and 2 days of science. All right? So the next video will be about writing. Okay? I'll see you on the writing video. Love ya.